actually the collaboration between me and a piece of speed reading software, speed reading application. I don't know if anyone has used this speed reading application, but it fires words at you very fast like this, in order to be able to save some time and cram as many words into your brain as possible and as quick as speed as possible. It's incredibly stressful. And it already comes loaded with these like 26,000 books, so it's already stressful by the time you open an application. And the average speed of reading is about 200 words per minute. In this application, I'm setting it at 400 words per minute. And I'm going to try and recite some type of sense from the book to you. Average speed of talking is about 150 words a minute, so I'm not really going to get anything. We'll see what happens. And the book that I've chosen from that vast repository of text from Spreeder, the application, is How to Live on 24 Hours a Day, which I think, neoliberal productivity drives wise is a good one to use, by a guy called Arnold Bennett. I don't know. Anyway, so here we go. We do not deserve time being cut off the meter. The payment is moreover drawn from the impossible debt. We cannot come tomorrow, except you will waste the hour kept for you. I said the affair was a miracle. He said daily time is out of it. Spiritual health and evolution. Immortality of the soul is a matter of urgency for the most thrilling actuality of our happiness, depending on clutching freedoms, newspaper enterprises, full of how to live on given incomes and given money, far commoner when one perceives that money is the commonest thing. Earth can't contrive to live on a certain income, giving more or less one doesn't necessarily model, because quite 1,000 times of pounds a year is guineas in the balance. But if one cannot have an income, we will cover up all expenditure with a supply of glorious living. 24 hours, I say, you say exists of us, free from the feeling of great spending departments. Daily life is not what it ought to be. Sure, a fine suit of surmountable shame and crockery forgotten of the food, which is not to himself of us have been saying to himself his life shall alter when I, that for more than time shall have more time, have all the time realization is profound neglect, which I weigh has discovered the minute examination of expenditure, the desire to receive one programme with the English desired except which is driving at 24 hours a day, except 24 hours is all that I want to do 10. Go in for newspapers, surely. It is simple, only hours content with hours. To you, my dear apology, I precisely wish that we have been about 40 years. Send me your name, state your charge, tell me how to do it. To you, I ought to be talking instead. I am convinced and have not yet encountered my loss, until I will continue to have a band of souls who are haunted more painfully than feeling of living slipping away, and that has not been able to get our lives in proper working order, instead analysing primarily uneasiness, expectation, forward sources, discomfort, skeleton feasts of enjoyment, but the theatre between acts is a skizzy finger. Ha! Long age, all promenades, bones down by our side, inquires, hast thou youth, doing thou line age continuous forward. It is part of life inseparable itself. There are degrees of Mecca, constituous Mecca, either by the aid of cook, or he may never reach it before he gets to the port, inglorious coast of the Red Sea, eternally unfulfilled, but he may be tormented. Ask a man who is harried by desire, leaving Brixton. Most of us have never left our houses, taking a cab to the circus, the price of a conducted tour. To ourselves there are 24 hours in an uneasy way of seeing a spring-fixed idea, doing something in addition to this. We are morally obliged to be codes, ourselves, our families, our house, our debt, saving, increasing a task efficiently, difficult, a task beyond the skill of succeeding. We too are not satisfied, skeletons are within us. We cannot cope, we feel we should be discontented. Our powers are already something to do, such is the fact we accomplish formal programming. Men, evolution, past the level of effort to satisfy wish, uneasy something, started, not started, the piece of the style which will be called names. One form of universal knowledge is this: strong men are systematic. Knowledge is driven by overstepping limits of programs. Still knowledge, Spencer's opinion, who lived on forced, agreeable black quarters, I imagine the majority of consciousnesses will wish that the intellectual succeedment will be a literary shape. Of course, people are more and more literary, by means that whole thirst for one's self-knowledge will be slaked quite apart from various ways of slaking dealing later. Out of these who do not have a natural wellness, precaution. Now that I have succeeded to intimidate myself, a successful daily primal cause of dissatisfaction, leaving undone would like to do, and indeed always hoping. One more time, I have drawn your attention to truth never dare. One more time, all the time, there is me, into you, wonderful secret. At any rate, approach arrangements day by day, which haunting things left undone will be got rid of. No wonderful secret, expected. I expect anyone else will ever undiscover it. Being able my drift, we are resurrected, perhaps to yourself. Man made an easy way of being in vain to do. No easy way. The road is extremely stony. Worst of it, never quite the most important preliminary task. One may live fully. A daily budget of calm and a difficult task. Endless demands cannot too strongly exist on imagining. Being able to achieve a timetable with a pen, instead hopping up at once. Being discouragement with disillusions. A big effort may begin. Again, uneasy, cooling existence is not very sad, perhaps sombre, rather fine. For the tense bracing is done, rather like myself. It is the chief thing that differentiates itself from being braced for battle, comprehending various remarks. Simply be no magic if man is standing on edge of swimming, wanting a cold shower. To you, jump, I would rather just take hold of your nerves. Jump it. The chief beauty is a supply of time. Cannot waste it. Next day, lying like you are unspoilt. If you are never a moment in your career, the fact is you can turn over a leaf every therefore you choose. Waiting a week, may fancy the water, warmer than colder, begin a few murmurs of private ears. You against your misleading, treacherous crying is an employment that I cannot satisfy. It is eager between wet rivers of perspiration. When it is on my brow, all of a sudden it dies. To the trouble of saying this, at the start I was quite a little bit more human. A failure to do so or so, we may not incur a loss of self-esteem like success or failure. Ruined by attempting too much, out on an invincible narrow limit of 24 minutes at the cost of a risk of an early business. At any rate, this is not a petty success. Failure leads to more petty examinations of budgets. You say your day is already full. You spend too much on the average. 7, I will add 2. It is generous to account me in the spur of the moment. Over 8 hours is the cause of the trouble.